Hey, it's Uno, and you're tuning in to That's on Cue podcast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to That's on Cue, a show where we talk about all things life experiences and unraveling the journey of it all. I'm your host, Unikabin, and thank you again for allowing me to be part of your day. So, ayan. So, before I'd like to go on with the episode, let us all do a simple exercise. I want you all to breathe in, and I want you all to breathe out. Because today is a new day to learn and become better as a person. Ayan. And be proud of yourself for getting ready and getting out of bed and preparing for the day, because I know some days might be hard and I'm proud of you for pushing through anyways. Ayan. So, before we go ahead and continue with the episode, I want you to recall on the moments or to the times where you were in a situation na you were extremely happy in the moment. Maybe someone made you really happy, or you were with your friends and it was really just a happy and joyful moment, and there's just this one thought that is creeping in the back of your head na maybe a moment after this you might feel an overflowing rush of sadness. Or maybe you ever been in a situation where you were given an opportunity to help yourself that could potentially help you with your career growth, for example, and it could really help you in a multitude of ways, but there's a thought again that's in the back of your head that made you feel like you're not worthy of it, or that made you feel like you can't do it. Or again, maybe have you ever been in a situation in terms of relationships, or kung single ka, that's perfectly fine. This is a no-hate single group or community. It's a safe space here for single people too. But anyways, have you ever been in a situation where you feel as though you don't deserve love, or you feel like you're never ever gonna get the love that you deserve because all throughout your life you've never been treated right, or you've never been treated in a way that is the bare minimum, right? Kumbaga, you just accepted that you're never gonna feel this type of love, or you never gonna feel the love that you deserve because you never experienced this type of love, diba? And I want you to understand that in all of these situations, we are all self-sabotaging. And what I want to talk about in this episode is Kwentong Self Sabotage, right? From my personal experience of self-sabotaging to explaining what exactly is self-sabotaging and how can we healthily approach the issue, right? Because this is a common behavior that everyone has, right? We self-sabotage things that are good for us because we believe that we are not capable of doing it, or we believe that we are not worthy of it. We need to eliminate that type of mindset, because you're deserving of the love you give to others. You are deserving of the opportunities you get because you're just that person. You are a star, right? And I know in some situations talaga, ang hirap mag-stop ng overthinking, right? You're simply human, you overthink, and that's common, right? It's normal. Pero we need to stop. And I know it's hard to stop overthinking, given that maybe you lack the assurance that the end might be alright, or everything will be okay in the end. But you have to understand that you're human, right? You have to just go with the flow sometimes. And who knows? The situation or the outcome might be better than what you were originally thinking. But before we go on with the episode, just a quick disclaimer that I'm not a licensed psychologist, or I'm not a trained professional. The things that I'm going to be saying in this episode are solely based on my experience of self-sabotage, and solely based on what I've understand and gone through with self-sabotage. Ayan. So, moving on to the episode, what is self-sabotage nga naman? What does it mean when we self-sabotage? And why exactly is it bad for our mental health and well-being? So in simple terms, self-sabotage is a behavior in which you limit yourself from achieving what you truly want or achieving happiness and abundance. For example, sa terms of love life, you self-sabotage in relationships in a way that you overthink the possibilities of it not ending well. Or take it for example, sa career, you're given a position that is higher than the position you have right now, and you self-sabotage in a way that you're doubting yourself that you're not capable of taking that position, right? And these are common behaviors that we have as humans, and it's really, really bad because you limit yourself and the capability of actually feeling the abundance that is given to you, of actually feeling the opportunities and the love that is given right there in front of you nga. And you have to understand that this behavior is rooted in an unhealthy core belief of ourselves, right? That means to say that we self-sabotage because we lack the confidence we have with ourselves, that we are not capable of achieving this, that we are not capable of getting this, simply because we're not really confident with what we could potentially be. And you have to understand that this behavior stems from the narratives we tell to ourselves, right? Are we really capable of this? Are we really deserving of this? These types of narratives are harmful to ourselves because we need to understand that it also affects our self-esteem. That's why it's important to take note what exactly you're telling to yourself too, right? Because that's exactly what you're going to be projecting to others. And there are a lot of ways in which we are able to self-sabotage, and maybe some we didn't even know was self-sabotaging, right? And in my experience of self-sabotaging, I self-sabotage in a way in which I put myself into a very, very high standards. And every time that I don't reach that standard, I beat myself up. Or I self-sabotage in a way that I compare myself to others, maybe in physical appearance or academically, because I've felt like I'm never good enough, or I feel as though my efforts weren't really as good in the comparative to others, right? And you have to understand that these are bad narratives we tell to ourselves. And obviously, I've grown out of that. I've healed enough and I've read enough self-help books to know that these types of things where you hold yourself into high standards or where you compare yourself to others is really, really bad. Because you have to understand, you're not a robot. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to commit wrongs because eventually you're gonna learn from it, right? Because in life, there's no mistakes. There are only lessons. You learn from it and you grow from it, right? That's the important part, right? You don't need to compare yourself to others to prove yourself to be good. You don't need to hold yourself in a high standard to prove yourself to be good. You are human, and that's okay. And sa relationships naman, right? And I think this is like a common problem majority of people face today, in which where they meet someone who's a green flag, kumbaga they're really consistent, they give assurance, they give updates, everything, like really green flag talaga. And they end this because they feel as though that they're not deserving, right? Talking stage pa lang, they already end it because they feel like, I don't deserve this, I'm not deserving of this type of love, or they feel as though that they're not capable of having it in the long term, right? Or another way that they self-sabotage in relationships is that they end things because of the fear of getting hurt again, or the fear of intimacy, or the fear of rejection that and those thoughts creeps up on them 24/7, 365, right? And those thoughts are really common in relationships, especially in toxic relationships. Oh my god. If you're in a toxic relationship, you have to know your worth and you have to leave the relationship right now, I'm telling you. There's no excuse as you can fix the guy or you can fix the girl. No, everyone must work on their own trauma and healing. You are not responsible for healing their trauma. You can't fix them in just a snap. You have to walk away because you deserve more than you are getting. Ayan, so anyways, another situation of self-sabotaging in relationships or in terms of your love life is that you never enter the dating game again, or you never like would want to go back to being in a relationship again because you feel the idea of getting hurt again, right? And the thought of getting hurt again really creeps up on you because you don't want to feel that way again. You don't want to physically feel as like your heart is getting ripped out of your chest, and because that feeling really really hurts. But you have to understand that shying away from those feelings is not a way it's not a way to heal, right? It's not the right way to heal. That means to say distracting yourself or keeping yourself busy is not the right way to heal or work on yourself or give yourself self-care, because you're not actually acknowledging the feelings, right? You're not actually allowing yourself to feel those emotions, right? You distract yourself through work or distracting yourself with friends. And it's important in healing that you acknowledge and feel those emotions, because emotions are simply just tools to help you understand and discover yourself more nga naman, di ba? You have to understand the thought of being abandoned or being hurt in the process of love is normal, right? I mean, like, you can't expect the person you are dating right now or you're in a relationship right now to be your soulmate or the person you're eventually gonna end up with. And you have to find closure in the thought that, hey, maybe that's okay. So how exactly do we approach this issue then? How exactly do we change the behavior? It's simple, right? The first step is to be aware of what triggers you or what triggers your self-sabotaging. For example, you could reflect on past instances. You could identify your fearful thoughts. Kumbaga, if you feel like you're overthinking this, you need to be aware that you're overthinking this and you need to stop, right? But also, I think another key important factor here to like manage self-sabotaging is reassuring yourself, talking to yourself that everything is gonna be okay, and just assure yourself that it's gonna be fine, right? This could apply in relationships. Kumbaga, if your partner's not updating you, or if your significant other is busy and like has not texted the whole day, you have to assure yourself that they're just busy and they do not love you any less, right? And although all of these tips or these things or factors are important, I think the most important thing to take note here is to journal this, right? You need to keep track, you need to take note of your journey here, because you have to understand that you can't keep track of all of this in your head, right? You need to take down notes, you need to write it down, right? What's triggering you? Identify those triggers, right? What exactly are your thoughts in your head when an opportunity comes up and you feel as though like you're not capable or you don't have the capability to do it, right? What exactly are those thoughts, right? And if you do this, you're able to not only progress but also look back on how far you've come, because you understand you're just human, right? Self-sabotaging is a common behavior, but we need to mitigate it, right? We need to navigate our way through it because it's already harming our self-esteem, right? We need to understand, we need to reassure yourself. You need to reassure yourself that you're good, right? You are deserving of the opportunities that you get. You are deserving of the type of love that you want to have, right? All of these things are something that you will get if you try to heal your self-sabotage, right? Note, the healing is not linear. It's a journey of ups and downs. And don't beat yourself up if you go back to square one, because no one ever gets it right anyways, right? So I think that's the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you have to understand that you're human. Allow yourself to commit mistakes, allow yourself to feel your emotions, simply because you're not a robot. And I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!